Finally, after many delays, this film is out, and the reactions of the film probably would have been different if it just released during its original release date. Either way, this film is upon us, and you clicked on this video to know what I think of it. Hopefully. Now, this is spoiler and non spoiler section, so you know where to watch the video till. So make your choice. In short, this film is actually pretty good. Is it terrible, bad, or mediocre? No. Is it a masterpiece, great, or really good? No, it's pretty good. But that isn't enough for the review, so let's get into the film. In terms of visuals, this film is actually quite a step up from the usual bland looking MCU films. The yellow lighting in the beginning scene provides a sense of warmth to the home, making the family feel like a family. The daytime scenes have some amount of sunlight which made it feel natural, and the interior scenes also had some level of contrast that made it visually interesting to watch. The film had actual black values, which is when you can see the actual black in the scene, giving it a proper contrast instead of a washed out black that looks more like grey. The cast is stellar. Scarlett Johansson is obviously great as Natasha, and Florence Pugh was an unexpected star. For many, she stole the show, and I can see why. The banter between the sisters mostly worked for me. Even amidst the action, their interaction sort of grounded it. The poser scene was quite funny, I'm not gonna lie. Alexei was fun, but mainly because of David Harbour's performance, which made him charismatic and funny. But writing wise, I wish he had more to do. His flaws as a human being were pretty evident, but his resolution was quite unsatisfying. Rachel Weisz was also solid, speaking from a performance point of view. She felt like a mother and a spy and fit both roles perfectly. Her character writing was not bad, there's some humanity to her, but I only wish the film explored it more. Also, I thought this film is going to show us how the Red Room actually functions, but I guess I was disappointed. Alright, now coming back into spoiler territory, so you may choose to watch the film or not. But if you're yet to watch the film, just please let me know about your thoughts and please let me know you're coming back after watching it. Alright, let's go. From what I'm assuming, the theme of the film is that we have our own free will, something that even Loki tries to explore. But here's the thing, simply having a theme in a film doesn't make it great. It's about how you incorporate the theme into the film that matters, and here it was mostly half baked for me. The autocracy of the Red Room is a great way to explore the theme of free will, but it's mostly explored through the use of dialogue or exposition. Maybe using character action to know more about them, about what they care and what they want can work better. That is a good way to explore theme. Just talking about your theme isn't enough. You have to work it in your overall plot and character. Let me give you an example. In Black Panther, the characters do talk about the theme of the film, where Nakia and T'Challa talk about sharing vibranium with the people who need it. This works not only because they're talking about the theme, it's also because we get to know more about their perspectives and their beliefs. That makes for good character writing. But what Black Panther also does is explore theme through choice. T'Challa actively chooses not to share vibranium, following what his ancestors did. This is his choice. Later in the end of the film, after having changed, T'Challa chooses to share the vibranium with the people who need it most. In Spider-Man 2, Peter chooses to be Spider-Man, despite all the troubles that come with it. In The Dark Knight, Batman chooses to save Rachel. These are choices they themselves make, and that makes for a more compelling way to explore theme. Also, the antagonist of the film. Why? Why? There are two villains here. You have Taskmaster and you have Dreykov. They had such potential and they were wasted. Dreykov was just a typical bad Russian dude. That's it, bare minimum. And even with no nuance, there was nothing else to make him more memorable. Let's say Gabbar from Sholay. He's a bad guy with no nuance, but he works because his presence is threatening and he has a distinguishable personality. And Taskmaster had the best potential. But before I get into that, I had to talk about another thing. When Draco was assumed to be dead, Natasha felt guilty about the fact that she also had to kill his daughter to get to him. This was great in concept but could have been executed better. How? Well, in the actual scene, Natasha sits in her car, watches his daughter go in, and the place explodes. One of the issues with the scene is that Natasha is too passive here. So I think creating a scenario where Natasha has to make a choice and the situation is dire, and her having to make the choice to kill Draco while also letting his daughter get killed would have been a better choice. Because when characters make choices under pressure, it reveals their true nature. Plus, Natasha also would have been an active character, but they missed that opportunity. Now, spoiler alert, Taskmaster is Dreykov's daughter. At first I was pretty underwhelmed, but on thinking about it, it sounded like a great idea. If Taskmaster fought Natasha, it works on an emotional level because Natasha, in a way, is fighting her own mistake. Now, they do fight later, but the emotional aspect is lacking. Also, since Taskmaster gets to say absolutely nothing, we don't see her perspective at all. I applaud the effort, but the execution was very surface level. Now, I do have another issue with the pacing of the film. In many films, and mostly superhero films, you have your hero and villain. Hopefully, your hero and villain have beliefs, and your villain has to be an antagonistic force that propels the plot forward. In The Dark Knight, Bruce is going through his struggles as Batman, and we see the Joker's force as a villain, how terrifying he is, and despite his limited runtime, it works because we never forget about him. In Black Widow, during the scene where the family reunites, it's a nice moment. But I completely forgot about the villain. Later, I remembered about Taskmaster, and the stakes from the film were completely gone. I'm not saying that get rid of the family scenes, I'm saying put some scenes of the antagonist to remind us of them being a threat to our heroes. There has to be some level of stakes present in the film to make it more engaging. Also, turns out Natasha's real mother was searching for her and Dreykov killed her. This is pretty solid because it's a good motivation for Natasha to kill him. The problem is that this should have been the initial motivation. Also, if there was some small scene where Natasha remembered her real mother, then I would have cared more because there's at least some connection that we see. Now, the action is pretty solid. In one of the beginning action set pieces where Yelena is fighting another woman in Budapest, the choreography is great, but the instant cuts was a little jarring. But in the other action scenes, it's pretty well done. Not only could I see the action, the camera movement sometimes becomes active, adding to the intensity of the punches and kicks. Now, whenever Natasha wants something, she meets her friend whose name I don't remember. But he is this guy. And the thing is, the only good thing about him is that he's charismatic. Otherwise, I have no clue how the hell he's getting things for Natasha. I mean, he gets a Quinjet for her. He's just a dude, and that's kind of disappointing. Also, it's hilarious how many people theorize that this guy was Taskmaster. Now, the Avengers are talked about a lot in the film, and this film kind of tries to explore the fact that Natasha is affected by the Avengers being torn apart after Civil War, but that again is lightly touched upon. There could have been some interesting conflict between Natasha's two families, but there's not much there. And one of the main and interesting conflicts of the film that is actually quite well done is the fact that this family isn't really a family. They were on an undercover mission for 3 years pretending to be a family, but since Yelena was so young, to her the family was real. And after getting separated years later, when they reunite, there's a discussion whether it was real or not, whether their bond was genuine. And this mainly works because this is internal conflict, which makes us care about these people even more. To Yelena, it was all true, and to Natasha, it was artificial. In the climax of the film, Natasha tells Yelena that it was real to her too, and that kind of affected me. I was moved, honestly. Do I wish that this theme was better explored? Yes, but I'm still satisfied with it. But I just wish that this film did not try to juggle so many themes at once because then it becomes harder to focus on each individual one and it all just becomes a mess. Black Widow isn't a mess, but it was very close to being one. Also, final nitpick, the post-credit scene. There's a very beautiful scene where Yelena mourns Natasha's death. It's silent, slow, emotional, effective, and peace. Why? Why? I thought Marvel was finally done with the bathos, and here it is, interrupting an impactful scene with a joke, ruining it. Anyways, it looks like this woman from Falcon and the Winter Soldier will be telling Yelena that Clint killed Natasha, and I'm sort of interested to see what happens, but I don't really know. I just hated the bathos moment. Now, I rambled about the film more on the stuff that did not work for me, but I really liked and enjoyed this movie. I really hoped I had seen this in the theaters. I probably would have loved it more. Here's to hoping that the Marvel's What If series will be pretty good. Thanks for watching, and comment below your thoughts on Black Widow. I'm really interested. And this video can be the start of a discussion rather than an end of one, and I would love to see what you guys type. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.